It's called Put a Fork in It. I'm going to ask you guys, is it time to stick a fork in certain teams and certain players in certain eras and certain things? And Kmart, it pains me to ask the first one. Is it time to stick a fork in the Aaron Rodgers era with the New York Jets?
Greeny, they're done. You know why? Not because I want it to be so, but because Gang Green has not given Jets fans much to hope for. So put a fork in them, baby, they're cooked.
No.
But like, listen, this was the year.
Argue.
This was the year, and you thought Davante Adams was going to get there and everything would be turned around, and no, sir.
All right, let's go to the next one, Jeff. How about the Anthony Richardson era in Indianapolis? Is it time to put a fork in that?
Absolutely not.
No.
No chance.
No fork.
And no fork.
Put the fork down,
way.
Greeny.
Put the fork down on this guy. I think he has a enormous upside. I think he needs to be developed, and hopefully that's what they're doing and getting him right. I think the kid has special talent. He hasn't played football. You drafted a guy who played 12 or 13 games in college. He's played 10 in the pros. This guy has a huge upside. He's going to learn the game. Do not panic on Anthony Richardson. Continue to develop him and let him lead.
10 in the pros over 2 seasons. Like he hasn't. He's a
barely
rookie.
played.
He's a baby.
How about the current era in Dallas? The Mike McCarthy, this iteration of the Dallas Cowboys. They won 12 games, 3 consecutive seasons. Now here they are really struggling. Is it time to stick a fork in this iteration of the Dallas Cowboys?
Fork them. It's unfortunate because you point out the fact that they have been successful in the regular season, but I think the fork was put in them this offseason when Jerry Jones allowed him to go out and play in the final year of his contract, and then the way that they performed this year, it's going to be really hard to figure out a reason why they need to extend Mike McCarthy and bring him back. I think it's time for a new era in Dallas.
I mean, this dude won 36 games. I mean, to be like, that's just, but I agree it's going to happen, but the expectations had nothing to do with regular season wins.
Well, sometimes change for change's sake is necessary because it's just gotten so ugly. The question is, where do they go from here? And Swagoo, our beloved former Cowboy, had this answer on NFL Live yesterday.
This is the time for Dallas to actually rip the Band-Aid off. This is the time to retool the whole thing. And obviously people were saying that. And obviously I didn't think they had enough talent coming into this season. And then you suffer these injuries. So while all of this chaos is happening around the organization, use it as a positive to redirect and recreate what you want. The question is, the hire that Jerry makes after Mike McCarthy, will it be about that guy and his direction, or will it still be about Jerry Jones and his direction?
So that's the question. And you brought this up earlier, Kmart. But listen, for those of you who weren't with us late in the show yesterday, Jerry Jones did his regular Tuesday radio interview, and he said directly, I'm the right person, meaning referring to himself, to fix this. If we have a problem here and I'm...
What's the shock face thing? Don't put this together.
Make a
no
face.
Shock in that thing. No shock that he says that. Yeah, there you go. There you go. The antithesis of the shock face.
We got a new meme.
And therein lies the problem. It doesn't even matter who he hires. If Jerry does not understand, he has to do something different. He can't be in charge of being the public spokesperson, media relations, the head coach, he's all things. And unfortunately, can I just say this about Mike McCarthy? Like this year, I almost feel bad for him because it's not his fault. You handcuffed him from the start. Now, if Jerry had said how we lost to the Green Bay Packers, enough. I've seen enough. Get everybody out of here. I would have said, this is very un-Jerry-like, but I get it. Now it almost feels like, bro, what are we doing?
Vince Lombardi ain't doing anything any different.
The only thing else, yes, this year they've had no chance. And last year you want to say the team got blown out in the playoff game. Is it Jerry Jones' fault that they tried to run a play and couldn't get the ball snapped in time in a playoff game a couple of years ago? I mean, they've won a lot of games. They haven't been that bad.
Is it Mike McCarthy's fault that the sun is getting in guys' faces?
Get some curtains.
That's bad. I guess what I'm saying is, like Jerry Jones, this year he's done a very bad job. He made some huge mistakes. But generally speaking, they've been pretty good for a while.
They've been pretty good, but I think over a 20-plus year stretch, it's hard to argue against the one constant if they haven't had the level of success that we think that they should have had.
that's true in so many places. I mean, the Jets haven't made the playoffs in 15 years. They've had 12 constants.
It's very different. Like, this team has been a team since Dak was there and prior to Dak when Tony Romo was there. This has been a team that's been around the championship and considered a championship contender, and they haven't been able to get very far in the playoffs.
They've underperformed. The problem is in big games, big moments, they've underperformed.
And is that the owner's fault? I guess that's what I'm asking you. Is it the procurer of the talent's fault?
1000%. The owner sets the agenda and the tone. When we talk, Dominique's making the jokes about Dion and the entertainment factor. That is all Jerry. Is he all in, or does he want to win a championship?
Think about the difference between Jerry Jones and Robert Kraft, like and Bill Belichick and whoever. It's the devil's in the details, man. And Jerry is about branding and about that. And when you're not, you see a lot more success in big moments.
It's funny how those details went out the window when Tom Brady was no longer the quarterback in New England. I'm just saying.
Bill, how are you?
I'm pissed off. Matt Eberflus to come back after the Washington game and say the play before the Hail Mary had nothing to do with them losing is BS. And then come out today again against the team and get slaughtered at home. And tomorrow morning, he's going to go and meet the Bears media, and he's going to say we had a meeting and everything is great. And we're all on the same page. Well, what page are they on? He's full of crap. He should be fired right this minute.
Bill Murray is a Chicago legend, and my favorite of his movies is called Groundhog Day. It's the one where he lives the same day over and over again. Well, if you're a fan of his favorite team, the Chicago Bears, the team you root for is a walking embodiment of that movie. Cycle after cycle, the organization tries with new coaches, new quarterbacks, new GMs, only to find no success, and the cycle repeats. That endless cycle was supposed to end this year with the drafting of Caleb Williams, but the dysfunction that has permeated this franchise has already seeped into its most prized possession. There was hope that this time the rebuild would be different. But through 9 games, this year's Bears are scoring less and producing less offense than they did last year when they were led by Justin Fields, who they said was broken. Anyone with a pulse could have told you this was going to happen, because instead of moving on from Matt Eberflus, who was 10-24, they instead entrusted him with the keys to the rebuild. And yes, they were a Hail Mary away from starting off 5-2, but a lot of that was a mirage, and that single play has sent them into a tailspin. The Bears have lost 3 straight. Their offense has collapsed. They've scored 12 points in their last 2 games. They haven't scored a touchdown in their last 23 offensive possessions. This offense could have had Cliff Kingsbury as its lead coordinator, reuniting him with Caleb from their time together at USC. Instead, Eberflus fired Luke Getsy in January, hired Shane Waldron, and then yesterday fired Waldron, in part because the Bears this season have 73 negative plays. That's the second most in the NFL. Now look, Caleb may very well wind up being the quarterback who finally breaks through in Chicago, but it is clear he has been dealt the same hand as Mitch Trubisky and Justin Fields before him. Not starting over with a new coach doomed those 2 promising quarterback prospects. And the organization has set the grounds for an even more talented one to suffer a same fate under their watch. That's where they are in Chicago right now. The question is, where do they go from here? Domonique, how do they pull themselves out of this?
I think you got to be simple, man. It's a point that I made a little bit earlier when we were talking about Teddy Bruschi's assessment of the Chiefs, just their culture being winning. You need to figure out what your identity is as the Bears. You need to decide what you're going to build your offense around. Anytime you're building an offense or a defense, any unit, you need to have something that you're very good at. One unit that can take the pressure off the other units. If it's your O-line, that's good. If it's just a stretch zone play and you just get really good at running outside zone, that's it. If it's boot, if it's screens, you have to find something that all your players know. We can do this well. And from that, if you do that well enough, the defense will then adjust to stop you from doing that, and then you can build off of that. The tough thing about this is they're trying to skip, it appears that they've been trying to skip Caleb to 400 level, in this offense to 400 level before they've mastered the 100.
So this is a multi-pronged issue, because you have a quarterback who's making things harder for himself and the offense. And one thing that Courtney Cronin, who was on the show earlier as our Bears reporter, she brought up how you have DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, and the guy I was so excited about in this draft, Rome Odunze. And it's just like, these are the offense, they're not getting them the ball, they're not featured. they need to simplify stuff. They really need to strip it down because Caleb is somebody who holds on to the ball too long. And he also looks like he's trying to think about too many things in real time when real defenders are coming at him. And that's a problem. To me, what scares me about Chicago is that this isn't just about Shane Waldron. So then how do you fix it? It's not going to be an easy just replace the OC and away we go. This isn't Buffalo moving on from Ken Dorsey and Josh Allen starts looking like Josh Allen again.
Yeah, firing Shane Waldron is kind of a CYA move, right? In all honesty, you're hoping that Thomas Brown has some kind of
magic
relationship with Caleb that changes the whole dynamic and you keep your job and that kind of thing. But when you think about Caleb Williams, no negative plays. That has to be the first thing that Thomas Brown instills in Caleb Williams. And I'm going to tell you, there is an old adage in football, 1, 2, 3, throw it away. And if you're a quarterback who believes you can make so many plays with your legs, especially young, you tend to create more havoc for yourself. And Caleb Williams has done it. 3 seconds or less, he's a top 3 quarterback QBR-wise in the league. 3 seconds or more, he's the worst in the league, and he has a 3 single-digit 3 QBR. The difference is your defense is good enough to keep you in games. You don't have to be perfect, and things open up if you don't have 3rd and 12, 3rd and 10, right?
Look at this.
He's 5 seconds into a ton of these, and he's leading the league in sacks when your offensive line has a win against a pass rush rate. It cannot continue. I don't care who the coordinator is. When you're creating and digging a hole for yourself, and maybe you change the route combinations. I'm not saying that Waldron knew all the answers. What I am saying is it's a basic fundamental of football that we're missing.
Look, Kmart and I covered the draft. You were in Washington when they drafted Jaden Daniels. There were people saying that maybe that Jaden Daniels was a better prospect than Caleb Williams. So far, Jaden Daniels looks like he's going to be one of the great rookie quarterbacks of all time. Literally no one was saying Bo Nix was a better prospect than Caleb Williams. Quite literally no one. There was real question as to whether he'd go in the first round or not. Yes. Which one of them looks like they're ready to play NFL football right now? That's right. Coaching. This is so much about coaching. This is all about, I used this analogy yesterday, these guys are all lumps of clay. And the people that mold them are the ones who decide what their careers are going to be like. Caleb is better clay than Bo Nix was. But they've got a sculptor. They've got Sean Payton in Denver, who's Michelangelo. And they've got Matt Eberflus, who should be playing with silly putty, who had no idea what he's doing. And now they're going to fire him, and they're going to bring someone else in. So he's going to have to learn a whole new offense, a whole new verbiage, exactly what they did to Trubisky, exactly what they did to Justin Fields. That's what I meant. The cycle just continues to repeat itself.
Here's the problem, because with Matt Eberflus, when you have a rookie quarterback, you have to be able to withstand the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of that rookie progression. And you had a coach coming in on the hot seat, and I don't like that dynamic.